Tree, and this is Stitchless TV. Or rather, hi, I'm Tree, this is Stitchless TV. And yet, I've given in, we're making masks. But the masks that we're making today are going to be the 3D masks, the cupped 3D masks. But I found that I like to make the masks out of something that's sort of waterproof and then with a cotton lining. Or otherwise, I seem to be more reassured if I use some sort of quilted type of fabric or a kind of neoprene fabric. So that's why today our mask is going to be made out of an upcycled sleeping bag, which I've already chopped into, and the bag that you carry it in. So I'm imagining that you want to have a closer look at the fit of my mask. Don't like close-ups. But basically, for me, this is a good fit. And also, I like it when it just goes behind the ears, because then I can just hang it off my ear. I know you're not supposed to take it off, but honestly, when you wear these things all day long, if you're caring for somebody, you want to go and take a breather. And I found it was quite a palaver to take it off when it went all the way round the back of my head. So my personal preference is for hanging off the ear. So I've already hacked into this sleeping bag. I've not actually used it as a sleeping bag, but we have got a tutorial on how to make a Japanese tote bag out of a sleeping bag. So this bag, the outer bit, will be used for the outer part of my mask so that it has that showerproof quality. So this is the sleeping bag that I've already cut into. The good thing about it is that it has cottony lining and it's kind of double-faced and it's got wadding inside. Now this is a very bad illustration of the mask that I'm cutting out today. Now I still think you probably need to make your own mock-up of your 3D cup mask because everybody's face is a different size. But when you do, allow enough here to fold back, because I've definitely found that when you do the elastic, if you put it through a channel, or your ties, if you put it through a channel, you get a much better fit, because all of this ruches up, which causes it to sort of pull and fit around your face, rather than having a great big gaping hole here, or a gaping hole at the top. Now I want you just to cut a piece out of the sleeping bag. It doesn't matter what sort of size, but so long as you can fit two of those onto it. Right, I've changed the light settings because suddenly it's kind of thunder and lightning and really rainy outside. So this is the sleeping bag. Do not press it on this side unless you've tested out your iron, because it will shrink it. Turn it over and press. I want you to really press and squash this on the cottony side, because most of the sleeping bags, they will have like a cotton liner. So really squash it and press it, because what we're trying to do is we're trying to make it end up feeling and looking a little bit like a scuba fabric. So we're really compressing it as we press it, because then it's going to be much more manageable as well. So I'm using steam, and I'm actually using my hottest setting because I'm definitely not pressing it on the sleeping bag side. Now when I've done that, I'm going to be able to cut out my pattern. So you're going to be cutting out that. That's the top and that's the bottom. You need to cut 2 out of whatever fabric you're going to use that has that kind of waterproof feel about it, yeah? So this could have been like an old wind cheater, or it could have come from, you know, a shopper bag or something, so long as it feels kind of showerproofy. So these are mine. So I've got my fabric, well, I'm going to have my fabric, right sides together. So this is going to be the lining of my mask. So I've got those right sides together, I'm not having that. And then these, so I've got 2 mirrored ones, yeah? 2 mirrored pieces, right sides together, even though you can't tell the difference. And they're going to be the outer part of my mask. Right, so all we have to do is we just stitch along the curve and then stitch along the curve, and our seam allowance is 0.5 centimetres. Okay, I know you're all fuming that I'm sewing black with black. Okay, so 0.5, which is like the width of your sewing foot, straight stitch, go forwards and back, and then just manage this quilted stuff as you sew around. Now of course you can put pins in if you need to. And then backwards and forwards. You've got to snip into your curve, go right up to, but not over your stitch line, okay? Don't go over it, but do go up to it. So just little snips like that, and then hopefully the right side or the wrong side. And then your lining looks nice and neat like that. So this is the fabric that was made out of the bag from the sleeping bag. And I'm going to do more or less the same. I think it'll be fine. Snip into the curve. Can you see if I put it under the light? Snip into the curve so you get a good movement there. Now, you don't have to do this, but I quite like how it looks when everything has a zigzag on the seams. So I'm pulling all my seam out of the way, and I'm doing a zigzag, quite a wide zigzag. And it really, it's more of an aesthetic thing. I just like the way it looks. So you won't be able to see it yet, but you can see me pulling. I'm pushing the seam allowance to the left, and then I'm opening out so I can reach the seam. So you just stay on the same side as where you pushed your seam allowance. Let's have a look. And then you get this sort of zigzag. Can you see that at all? Right, because I learnt my lesson from the quilty stuff moving, I'm just going to zigzag the two together, 2 layers together, just to stay stitch the stuff together, just so it doesn't move. I'm going to do that all the way around, but in stages. So I'll report back when I've done that. So the only reason why I did this was because my slippery lining, my slippery satiny side of the sleeping bag kept moving around. So by my zigzagging all around the edge, it means it won't move when I stitch it together. And I've zigzagged close enough to the edge so when I stitch it 0.5 centimetres in, we won't see that line, hopefully. So once you've pressed your lining, the quilted bit, I mean, if you don't have to press it, but if you do press it, it's handy to use a ham, a tailor's ham, or the curved edge of your ironing board. So that's our outer fabric. Now we need to put it right sides together with our quilted fabric, and this is the time for the odd pin here and there, because you want to match up the two seams at the top before you do anything. So I've put a pin at the top and I'm pushing the cup so it's concave. Now check your edges and your seam and do it in stages. So I need to put it back to a straight stitch, that's for sure. And I'm going to start at the edge and sew 0.5 away from the edge, which is more or less the width of my sewing foot. So keep going until you get to where that pin is, and then pause when you get near the top, make some adjustments, and then make sure everything's all lined up again for coming down the other side, the same seam allowance away. So pivot the needle when you're a seam allowance away, and then run down the edge of your mask. And then pivot the needle at the corner and make sure everything's all flat. Pause when you're at the bottom of that centre bit, line up your other side, making sure everything's all nice and flat. Good. Now if that's bulky there, you might need to sort of jump over it a bit. Okay. In some places I did go a bit bigger, so I'm just going to trim it back there. I mean, you don't have to be too perfectionistic with these things. Mitre your corners. Now we have got that opening there, which is where we're going to turn the whole thing through. But before we do that, you need to do that thing where you snip right up to the stitch line. Now do it all the way around, because if you don't do that, it's just not going to sit properly. So I'm going to spend a bit of time going all the way around. Now make sure you haven't trapped anything underneath, because otherwise you'll end up with a hole. Now we can put our hand inside and turn the whole mask very gently the right way round. So it's just like turning a pillowcase the right way round. I'm going to stick my scissors inside very gently to help me push out those corners, okay? And then start to have a look at what you've got. Now you can press this if you want, but you won't need to if you're going to be top stitching with the zigzag stitch that I'm going to show you in a minute. Now I plan upon having this as my right side because it's got that showerproof quality about it. So this is the opening and we need to turn in, look, can you see? We need to turn in our seam allowances and maybe put a pin there. So I'm going to be sewing from the top side. Ooh. So that's where I'm going to want my pin to be. Like that. Now we're going to sew from the top all the way around, but when you get to here it might be a bit bulky, so you can either go in now and trim off some of that, or just stop there and jump over and go to the other side. Okay, you know, go backwards and forwards, jump over, begin here, go backwards and forwards, and go all the way around to here, here, around there and around there. I basically finished where I started and then just cut off all your threads. So the inside is like that. So if you were doing it, you might want to use the same colour thread for your lining part of your mask. But I guess it's good, isn't it, that we did it in black? At least you can see it, unlike the other side. Right, I just want to show you a trick for doing ties. So I'm hoping you can see me. So that's what we have so far. Okay, can you see? So what will happen is, because I definitely think it sits better with the channels, we're going to be folding back those bits and we're going to create a channel, or we're going to trap some elastic in there. Now, like I said, it seems that the whole world has run out of elastic, but this stuff is really easy to create. So I'm going to put this on the table so you can see how lovely it is, and then I'll show you how easy it is to create. So look how stretchy that is, and this is all that it is. This is lycra, okay? So leggings are made out of lycra, but I mustn't stretch it now. It could also be a t-shirt, and what you've got to remember is, you know when you see the t-shirt and it's kind of got lines in the t-shirt fabric, which is jersey, or it might be ribbing, or like a ribbed fabric, but it's always stretchy, yeah? So the lines will go down it. So all you've got to remember is, when you do your ties, you've got to cut across those bits. Now I'm doing these a bit wider than they should be, I suppose. A centimetre seems to be enough to end up with this, and this is all that you do. So this is how you create elastic ties. Look, it's like magic. I pull and pull and pull and pull like it's most tight, and it ends up curling beautifully. Now I might try and get a close-up photo of that, because if you could see how it curls up into two curls that way and then smooth on the other side, it's really nice. And then for the ends you just simply cut them, because they're not going to fray, and if you want you could put a knot in it. So I love that, don't you just love it? So there was one more thing I wanted to show you in relation to using the sleeping bag and making use of all the hardware that goes with the sleeping bag. Now I just want to show you this. So that's your mask. If you wanted to do it so that you have like an adjustable tie that went around the head, okay, and then you make use of the toggle down at the bottom so you can adjust it for different sizes. Look, You've already got it on your sleeping bag. So this is how we put the elastic in. So the elastic is going to lay inside a channel at the side by the ears, okay? So it's a non-specific length at the moment. Now you may want to do this by hand because it is quite thick. So I've folded back a channel and I'm going to use I'm going to put my sewing machine back to straight stitch first. I'm going to use the wheel at the side if I feel it's a bit thick and squint. So I'm going backwards and forwards a couple of times at the beginning because it is a stress point. And then just come up along that edge. And then backwards and forwards again a few times at the end. So that makes a nice channel for our elastic. So do the same on the other side as well. So look, that's what you end up with, which I think is pretty good. So you tie off the ties, you do like a loop so that they can be changed. And then when you're happy with the sizing of them, you can just sort of pull it up until it goes to the bottom. I think it looks quite nice with that tassely bit there. So there you go. So that's 100% upcycled sleeping bag face mask. So there you go. That's my face mask. Made out of a sleeping bag and it's showerproof. So I can wear it in the rain and somehow I feel more reassured that it's not only quilted, but it's a bit moisture proof and I can still breathe, which is good. Shall I take it off? So thank you so much for watching. Now I've got another brilliant idea for more face masks that are made out of things around the house. One in particular, really easy. So if you want to see it, I can show you. But of course, these face masks can be made out of regular fabric, like scuba, ripstop fabric for the showerproof on the outside. You don't have to use upcycled stuff. But I thought it'd just be interesting to show you. Thank you so much for watching. See you again very soon. I might put some masks on my Etsy page for those that can't sew. Haven't decided yet. So comment below if you like any of the ones that I show you. Bye.